Welcome, Shelby County High School football fans, to game night video here at the Shelby County Reporter, Week 4. We're here with Davis Potter, our sports intern, Wesley Hallman, your sports editor. We're going to start by taking a look back at last week's game of the week. Chelsea-Shelby County is always a big rivalry in the southeastern part of the county. Chelsea came back after two losses back-to-back the past 2 years to the Wildcats. They came back strong this week. Picked up a 33-0 win over the Wildcats. Davis, what was your impression of that game?
Well, they're really turning into one of the better, well-rounded teams in the county. I'm talking about Chelsea, and the scary thing for other opponents is Coach Waldrop's team. They're finding a whole lot of ways to score touchdowns. I mean, you have Jake Gaines, who has 2 rushing touchdowns and 2 passing touchdowns already this year. Jake Campbell's got 3 receiving touchdowns, and then they've got the two-headed monster with Julius McCall and DJ Washington, who have combined for 8 touchdowns on the ground. So, defenses are scrambling for ways to try to stop them. Just another, dominating performance for them over Shelby County. Shelby County, it wasn't as bad as the scoreboard made it seem. They would move the ball, but they had 4 turnovers, 3 fumbles, 1 interception. So, it wasn't nearly as bad as what it may have seemed. I mean, they're losing. They've lost a lot of guys off of last year's team. They're real young, real inexperienced. And I think, Chelsea just really overwhelmed them in that game.
I agree, Davis. Shelby County, they knew coming in that they lost the majority of their team last year, and it was going to be a struggle. I think they may pick up their first win Friday night against Talladega. When you take a look at this Chelsea team, they've got a chance here to really, they've almost locked in that playoff spot already with a win over Sylacauga and Shelby County being down this year. Chelsea, they're already, just 1 or 2 more wins will put them in position for playoff spot. Friday night's going to be the big tester. Are they region championship contenders? Can they, like they did a few years back, can they pick up that win over Briarwood, which dominates year in, year out in the region? It's going to be interesting. The Hornets are going to be likely going to be without Joey Mock and Russ Birdsong and a couple of others that suffered injuries against Shelby County. It will be interesting to see if they can, put the guys that are still there on the field, if they can come together, give it their best effort Friday night against a very good Briarwood team that's really going to be strong on the defensive line. It's going to be interesting to see how the Chelsea running backs, you mentioned DJ Washington and Julius McCall, how they can run the ball against that Briarwood defense. It's going to be a test of 2 wills there, and it'll be interesting to see which one prevails. Speaking of the matchup between the Lions and the Hornets, Davis, Chelsea travels to Briarwood this week in our game of the week. What's your take on that game?
Well, I guess if you're a football fan, you really can't ask for much more than this. I mean, you have a battle of strength versus strength, really. You got Chelsea's offense, which has scored 96 points in the first 3 games, going against a stout Briarwood defense, which has only allowed 19 points in the first 3 games. And, Chelsea, I think we talked about it earlier, they're going to try to get the ball in a bunch of different playmakers' hands, whether it be Jake Campbell at the wideout position, getting passes from Jake Gaines, or Julius McCall and DJ Washington, coming out of the backfield. I think this is going to be the toughest test for Briarwood's defense thus far. I mean, they did play and knock off the defending state champion Demopolis in their first game, but Demopolis really lost a lot of players off that state championship team. Not saying that they're not good, but I just think, they'll get Briarwood's defense get more of a test against this Chelsea offense. And, I think you just have a matchup here Friday night where both teams are really just clicking on all cylinders. I think the difference will be whoever, execution, whoever has the least number of turnovers, least number of penalties will probably come out on top Friday night.
I agree with you, Davis. Both teams coming in at 3-0. This is shaping up to be a battle for the region championship. These 2 teams look like they're the top 2 contenders. It's going to be interesting to see how the Chelsea running game, which has been really effective this year with DJ Washington and Julius McCall, going up against the solid defensive front for Briarwood. And it's going to be key for Jake Gaines to be on target. Jake Campbell, one of his favorite receivers. Those 2 are going to be key in this game, testing a Briarwood secondary that's got a Division I commitment to Southern Miss and Cooper Harrington and Chad Davis. Defense for Briarwood, they look strong in every category. It's really going to be interesting to see how this Chelsea offense matches up against the Briarwood defense. Probably the toughest one they're going to face in the regular season this year. It's going to be interesting to see how it all turns out Friday night. And another big county versus county matchup this week, Davis. We've got Oak Mountain traveling to Spain Park. The Jaguars picked up their first win last week against Homewood. Oak Mountain has struggled the first 3 games this year. How do you think this one turns out?
Yeah, well, you talk about a confidence booster. I mean, Coach Bergeson, finally, after 3 games, stepping in as the head coach there at Spain Park, finally gets his first win. It was a nail-biter, a 1-point victory there in overtime over Homewood last week. I think you know, they probably have the upper hand going in this. I mean, Oak Mountain, granted, they played Hoover, you know, a powerhouse in the state every year, and, you know, a nationally ranked team, but they couldn't stop anything Hoover was doing. I mean, Hoover really just had their way, chose whatever they wanted to. I mean, it ran the ball on them. You know, when they crept, you know, put 8 or 9 or 10 guys in the box, then they just went up top to their bigger, faster wide receivers and, you know, scored with big plays. And I think that was really the Achilles heel of Oak Mountain last Friday, was the big play. I think they gave up 5 plays of 20 yards or more in the first half in that game. I think that was really their downfall. That's really what did them in. And, you know, Hoover had a 53-0 lead at halftime, and I think second half all they did was just come out and, you know, basically run the ball at the middle of every play, trying to, you know, run out the clock in the second half. But, you know, if Oak Mountain even wants a chance against this, you know, a Spain Park team with some new life, some new energy, something actually positive that went their way last week, I think they're going to have to shore up that defensive side of the ball and, you know, show that they can stop somebody.
I agree with you, Davis. Oak Mountain has a lot of youth on the team this year. They've really struggled through the first 3 weeks of the season. Spain Park's coming in off, like you said, a big win over Homewood in overtime, a confidence booster, and they're going to have the emotional edge in this game more than likely. Either way, they may know the fate of suspended Spain Park coach David Shores by Friday night's game. If he's back, they're going to have a big boost. If he's not back, and they're going to know that Coach Bergeson's here for the rest of the season, we got to, you know, this is our guy. They're going to rally together. I just see the emotional edge for Spain Park this week being too much for the Eagles to overcome with a game, especially being there on their home turf at Spain Park. Check back next week to see how the game between Briarwood and Chelsea turns out. I'm Wesley Hallman.
And I'm Davis Potter.
This is Game Night here at the Shelby County Reporter.